After I got married, my husband refused to have children, fearing it would hinder his career. So, I took the initiative and underwent sterilization. 10 years later, I received millions in compensation from a demolition project, only to have 3 children suddenly appear, demanding their share. After digging into the truth, I uncovered a devastating reality. They were triplets, the children of my husband and his childhood sweetheart. He had named them Diego, Mateo, and Bruno, and his childhood sweetheart, Eulalie Hemsworth. The money I had sent to my in-laws had been used to buy a spacious apartment in their hometown, not for me, but for him and her. All those years, Hayden Radcliffe had used the excuse of seeking inspiration to shuttle between 2 cities, hiding a life I never knew existed. Under this gut-wrenching revelation, I confronted him, my fury uncontainable. His response, steady, self-righteous, without a hint of guilt. For the promise I made in childhood, I felt myself unraveling, rage and heartbreak colliding. The argument that followed was a storm neither of us could contain. Relatives and friends surrounded me, their voices a mix of persuasion and thinly veiled pressure. Swallowing the lump in my throat, I turned to Hayden. At nearly 40, he still looked as refined and youthful as ever, as if time had never once betrayed him. Give them some money and send them away. That's the furthest I'm willing to bend. Hayden rose to his feet, his gaze unwavering, his voice chillingly firm. They are my children. They have every right to inherit my assets. If you refuse, then we'll settle this in court. I wiped the blood from my hand with a detached calmness, my last shred of false hope crumbling to dust. Hayden, let's divorce. At that moment, my mother-in-law shot up, her rage igniting like dry wood in a flame. A cup flew toward me, shattering just inches away. You're nothing but a barren hen. How dare you ask for a divorce? If anyone's leaving, it'll be Hayden, not you. What right do you have? The noise around me blurred into a distant hum as I took in the chaos. Relatives talking at once, my mother-in-law pointing at me, her voice shrill with curses. A suffocating weight pressed against my chest. This was the man I had once cherished like a rare gem. This was the elder I had once treated like my own mother. And yet, somehow, my husband's betrayal had become my fault. 10 years ago, Hayden had performed a breathtaking traditional dance, his every movement mesmerizing, like a prince stepping out of a dream. In my eyes, he had been perfection. But behind that elegance lay a harsh reality. His mother had already arranged for him to marry Eulalie, binding him to a future he never chose. She had intended to make him a live-in son-in-law, only to squander the dowry on her gambling habits. She had even boasted that Eulalie had promised to buy them a house and take her to the big city, a golden ticket she clung to. When I spoke of marriage to my parents, my father's fury was unrelenting. Foolish girl, do you want to marry into a rural family? If you step out that door today, I'll burn down the furniture factory and act as if I never had an unfilial daughter like you. His rage should have crushed my resolve, but I pleaded again and again until he finally relented. In the end, he gave my mother-in-law money for a down payment on a small apartment, but it wasn't enough. So, I worked. I took on extra jobs, worked overtime in secret, and saved every cent until I finally bought the house in full, bringing her to the city myself. I had thought that love was worth every sacrifice. After we married, Hayden told me he wanted to focus on his career, and that he didn't want children. So, I took the initiative. I underwent sterilization, leaving no room for debate. To put his mind at ease, I even had the doctor issue a certificate of infertility. Not long after our wedding, both families began pressing us for children. The whispers and pointed gazes followed me everywhere. Enduring the endless gossip, I presented the infertility diagnosis. From that moment, my mother-in-law's demeanor shifted. Her once amiable tone turned sharp, laced with ridicule. She sneered, her words dripping with disdain, as if I were neither man nor woman. Again and again, she lamented her son's misfortune, how someone as talented and handsome as Hayden had ended up with a wife who couldn't bear children. Her scorn cut deep, but what hurt more was seeing my own parents push me toward medical treatment, as if I were some defective product that needed fixing. One evening, as the weight of their expectations bore down on us, Hayden sighed. Ella, maybe I should just tell them the truth that I want to dance and don't want children. I reached for his hand, holding it tightly, my voice calm, yet firm. You can keep dancing for a few more years. If one day you change your mind and want to be a father, just tell me. I'll have the procedure reversed so we can have a baby. No matter what, I will always support you. In the second year of our marriage, Hayden secured an opportunity for self-funded training. Without a second thought, I took money from the furniture business and sent him off to study in another city. From that day on, his mother changed. She stopped mocking me for being infertile, no longer throwing cruel words like daggers at my heart. Instead, she often returned to her hometown, claiming she preferred the fresh countryside air, that the small apartment I had bought for her felt stifling. I thought she had finally accepted me, that she was giving us space as a couple. In reality, she was in another city, caring for her 3 precious grandchildren. That was when the truth hit me like a slap to the face. Hayden had never gone for training. He had used my money to support his mistress and raise their children. I swallowed the ache in my throat, forcing my voice to stay steady. Hayden, do you really think having children erases your betrayal? Did you ever stop to consider my feelings? Seeing the sorrow in my eyes, a flicker of guilt flashed across Hayden's face. I'm sorry, Ella. I never wanted you to suffer again, and I didn't want children disrupting our life. Eulalie said that by having these children, she's fulfilled her dream of being a mother. She swore to raise them alone, never remarry, and never interfere in our lives. If you're willing, she even agreed to let them respect you as their godmother one day. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. Ella, I know this is hard for you to accept right now, and that's okay. Just take your time. I still hope you can come to terms with it. After all, they carry my blood. I can't abandon them. With that, he called the relatives and friends outside, leaving me alone on the sofa, slumped in quiet defeat. I reached for a bottle of liquor, leaned back, and drank in silence. Moments later, my phone lit up. A message from the private investigator. Photos and videos loaded onto my screen. A cold chuckle slipped from my lips as I clicked on them. Ever since the truth surfaced, my mother-in-law and the others had stopped pretending. They openly walked in and out of hotels and amusement parks, no longer caring who saw them. The investigator had caught it all. There were photos of the 5 of them dining at a restaurant, of Hayden and Eulalie playing games with the children, of them escorting the kids to extracurricular classes together, like a perfect little family. They were just ordinary family photos, yet my eyes burned as if seared by invisible flames. If my father's spirit could see this from the afterlife, he would have slapped me across the face and called me a fool. But he was gone. He had passed away a year ago from late-stage liver cancer. Before he died, he held my hand tightly, his voice weak yet firm. He told me to live well, not to burden myself with pressure, and that if life became too hard, I could always adopt a child. I thought I had already cried every tear I had to shed, but staring at that picture-perfect reunion, my vision blurred once more. How could he do this to me after everything I had sacrificed for him? And his mother, how could she? Even when the furniture factory struggled, I never once cut off her monthly allowance of $20,000. She had claimed she needed it for therapy and health supplements, citing anemia and heart problems. At dawn, I called the relocation team. I agreed to invest the compensation funds into the financial management fund. I'll come by later to sign the papers. By the time Hayden returned, I was already drunk, my face streaked with tears. He helped me lie down, his touch laced with guilt, wiping my face gently with a warm towel. The scent of mysterious royal jelly cologne clung to him, turning my stomach. So, he had spent the night with them, and under the roof, I had paid for his mother. Hayden fed me warm water, cradling my head as he whispered, "I'm sorry," over and over, his breath brushing against my hair. For a fleeting moment, it felt like I had gone back 10 years, back to when my father had stood firmly against us, and we were struggling to survive in a damp basement apartment. Life had been cruel back then. My father had severed all financial support, vowing that I would never marry a pretty-faced man with no future. We had survived on cold steamed buns and instant noodles, but back then, Hayden had truly loved me. He never once complained, never wavered, always by my side as we chased down orders, doing whatever it took to get by. Now, I clung to Hayden, my voice barely above a whisper. "Hayden, let them go, okay? We can still support them financially, but please, don't see them anymore. Please?" His entire body tensed. He froze. Reality struck me like a slap. The haze of alcohol lifted. I pushed myself up, stepping away from the bed, my lips curling into a bitter smile as I stared at him. "Why?" My voice cracked. "Why didn't you come to me when you wanted children?" I looked at him, my heart splintering under the weight of betrayal. "Hayden, how could you be so cruel to me?" The pain clawed at my chest, raw and unbearable. My fist slammed against the glass cabinet. The sound of shattering glass filled the room as shards scattered in every direction. A sharp sting shot through my hand, and crimson drops began trailing down my fingers. For days, I buried myself in work, handling the relocation of the furniture factory. That day, just as I concluded negotiations on a merger with Mr. Ashford, my phone rang. It was Hayden. I opened the message, without emotion. "Ella, come home tonight. I have something to discuss with you." Knowing this conversation was inevitable, I typed a single-word reply. "Okay." When I pushed open the door, I stopped short, my breath catching. For a moment, I thought I had walked into the wrong house. The crystal chandeliers and wall sconces bathed the room in warm light. An anime played softly in the living room, where 3 little boys laughed between bites of snacks. "Ella, you're back. Everything's ready. We were just waiting for you to start dinner." Noticing my frozen expression, he placed a hand on my back, gently guiding me toward the table. "Today is the triplets' birthday. I thought this would be a good chance for you to meet them, to bond with them." His voice was light and casual, as if it were normal, like this wasn't ripping me apart. So, I arranged a little celebration at home. Then, he called out, "Diego, Mateo, Bruno, come meet Aunt Ella. After you greet her later, she'll officially be your godmother." I froze. This wasn't just an introduction, it was a trap.